I worked on a Star Wars movie in Caserta Palace when I was younger. And then when Gabriella came to me with the idea that I could make this movie, I started to research more about Caserta. Then I knew that Maria, the young child bride, had commissioned Vanvitelli along with her husband's approval to make this magnificent palace. And so then I thought that, you know, maybe those two had a meeting of their minds. You know, they had a love of each other's mind, and that formed the palace.
Un amore tra un artista e la sua musa.
He has love for his work, but he has love for her, and it transcends time, and you don't get better than that.
I was after ages that had defining events that you would know what the age was. So the first one was the Baroque age, you know, when the palace was formed. The second was the Victorian age, you know, and I wanted that to represent that already Vanvitelli was living in her head and the palace lived on. And then the 1920s has such a different milieu, you know. And then 1945 was very epochal because of the war and how Caserta was used in the war after the war was over. And then the last period was the film within a film, which was my period, you know, the period that I filmed there. And then wouldn't it be good if the woman who made this magnificent palace lived through all time, if she was the person that always appeared in the palace, she was the person that would bridge the gaps between all the ages.
Io non me ne andrò mai.
Tutte queste donne sono un'unica donna, è come se fosse una rincarnazione, ci credo come se fosse un continuo, o lo sguardo della regina negli occhi di tante donne diverse che hanno avuto un ruolo importante nella storia della Reggia. Ogni giorno praticamente giravamo un'epoca diversa. Quella parte là è stata fantastica.
I like the biographies of artists, and I like to hear the unknown stories. For instance, it's not unknown now, but imagine coming across the story of Abelard and Eloise. It's astounding in its breadth and depth and how it's affected us. These two people, my God. And that's what this love affair is like.
Kasia just seemed like she was perfect, you know, she seemed like she could be the queen. She seemed like she could be the Victorian, you know, she seemed like she would be the 1920s. She was able to embody all the ages and, you know, carry those ages with her. And Valerio, he's a fascinating, great actor and character. When you try to direct someone who has great instinct, like Richard does, sometimes you go, oh, really, wow. But the great thing about great actors is, I think, instinct is the compass of intellect. And I think that he really knows that. So I'm not afraid to give him a direction if I want it to be like something.
If you enjoy the process of living, the process of loving, or the process of developing your work, then you've already succeeded at all of those things the moment you start out. And so, when I was a young actor, I taught a class in how to be a young actor. And I taught a class in how to be an unemployed actor. And because I loved the whole process.
Thinking about your younger self, who played American Graffiti in 1973, what advice would you give him?
When I did that film, George Lucas asked me to do either that role or the role that Charlie played. And I chose that role, Kurt. And he said, why? And I said, because Kurt was self-aware. And that's the advice I would give him, to be self-aware and to be honest, to be able to honestly look at yourself and enjoy it. really enjoy it, like you're watching a painting. And that's what I would say.
I think I had a very definite opinion of how I wanted the music to sound, and so I gave the Niro very complex but also simple cues to listen to, other music cues. Can you make it sound a little bit like this, or I want it a little bit like this, you know, the mood here is like this, and then this needs to propel the dialogue, but this needs to have like great emotion.
Mi chiedono se avessi avuto voglia di scrivere un brano ispirato a uno dei tanti momenti della sceneggiatura. Insomma, leggendo volevano vedere che cosa avrei tirato fuori, e io in 20 minuti ho tirato fuori una cosa, proprio ma così, ho letto e subito ho scritto una cosa e gliel'ho mandata. Alle 5 di mattina del giorno dopo mi scrisse il regista dicendomi: sei tu. Ho detto grazie.
I think the thing that's fantastic about the Niro is he really listens, and he's really, really musical, you know, so I would just explain it and we would make adjustments, and for someone who's never scored like a film before, I think he did great.